Welcome to How to Run Profitable Retreats. I am Lainey Cavazos, retreat strategist and host of the show for coaches, entrepreneurs, and transformational leaders who want to design retreats that actually make money. If you've ever put your heart into a retreat only to walk away exhausted or worse, broke, you are not alone. This podcast is here to change that. Each week, I'll bring you stories, strategies, and expert insights to help you create meaningful, transformational retreats that also support your business, your lifestyle, and your bottom line. Let's make your next retreat not just powerful, but profitable. Before we dive into today's conversation, I want to make sure you know about something that could completely change the way you run your retreat business. If you ever felt unsure about how to price, market, or consistently sell out your retreats, this is your invitation to stop guessing and start building something scalable. I am hosting the Sold Out Retreats Workshop live in Las Vegas, a full-day, high-impact experience designed to help you build your profitable retreat empire in one powerful day. You'll walk away with a pricing system that guarantees profit, so no more guesswork. Magnetic messaging that attracts ideal clients without constant posting. And then the exclusive transformation location to pick a retreat spot that sells. And a complete sales system designed to fill your retreats every single time. This is for coaches, facilitators, and transformational leaders who are ready to run retreats like a business, not a side hustle. There's only 8 premium seats and limited VIP spots, and they will sell out. So go now and reserve yours now at theretreatplanner.com/live. This is not another mindset event. This is your business plan in action. Let's turn your passion into a profitable transformational retreat model. Welcome to another episode of How to Run Profitable Retreats. I am your host, Lainey Cavazos, and I am so excited to meet you here today. Now, I'm going to get deep into who I am and what I do here, but I will tell you that I am extremely passionate about retreats that solve one specific problem. Why? Because that hones into your message, that makes you different, that makes you stand out. Stop chasing the numbers. Stop chasing to have 50 people on your retreat. Think about having the right amount of people. The right amount of people with a very specific problem will get you to the place where you want to be in your business. Now, I'm going to run an imaginary example that is actually based on real numbers. Okay, so I want you for a second to imagine that you are a relationship coach. Okay, that's your thing. And you solve a very specific problem. As a relationship coach, you get to help couples, right? Not just the women or the men. You help the couples figure out the problem in the relationship so they avoid divorce. See, very specific problem. Your couples are on the verge of divorce. They're thinking about it. They're looking at lawyers, right? They're talking to their friends. They're figuring out what's going to happen with the dog. Now, how much would someone pay you to fix their marriage in a way where they can avoid divorce? And what I'm talking about here, it's actually perceived value. So translate that into your business, into what you offer. How much would someone pay you to help them solve that very specific problem? Now, for you to charge high premium rates, you do need to be good at what you do, right? Proof, testimonials, and whatnot. Be an expert on your field. But if we break down the expenses and the costs, right? Emotional costs, physical costs, right? Monetary costs of getting a divorce, how much people would be willing to pay for this retreat? Because a lawyer in LA will cost you around $50,000. Then you have to divide the assets, right? So you have to pay taxes for that. I don't know how many assets this imaginary couple has, but let's imagine a bunch. So you have to pay for that, right? Now you need to pay for 2 households, right? So instead of paying for one internet bill, there's 2 internet bills that need to be paid. Water, electricity, blah, 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 right? You get the idea. Now, we go into also so all those pieces, right? But then we go into the emotional piece. How is your worth going to feel if you get divorced from the person you wanted to spend the rest of your life with just because you can't communicate? What is that going to do as a toll for your emotional being? Now, if you have kids, will they have to go to therapy for the rest of their lives? Like, really think about all the ripple effects of that problem. Now, someone coming and solving that problem will have a high perceived value. So you can actually have a retreat that is at 10% of the cost of getting a divorce. So in LA, getting a divorce between all the expenses, the average is around $250,000. Yeah. So a couple will pay you $25,000 to save $225,000. Wouldn't you? Like, wouldn't you pay a 10% of your total cost for fixing that problem? I can tell you there's people that pay more than the 10% because they want to stay with their partner. They don't want to, maybe they grew up in a broken family and they don't want to have that for their kids. They'll do whatever it takes to get it done. So that's what we consider perceived value, right? Is what people perceive as a value for your retreat. And a lot of retreats out there do not have a high perceived value. And that's why people are not buying them. And that's why people are not paying you premium rates for your retreats. Because you're not special. Let's be honest. It's not a special retreat. You might be a special human being and you might have great things, but you have not honed it into the space of the messaging where people can actually see that what you have is so important, powerful, and is going to change their lives that they cannot wait to say yes. They're like, do I have to wait for 6 months for the retreat? Don't you have one next week? That's what we want. So when we think about it and we are conceiving our retreats, we need to take a couple of things in consideration. Number one, you're solving a very specific problem. So you're increasing, right, the perceived value of your business, the perceived value of your retreat, of your programs. Then you need to run it in a way that it's profitable from the beginning. Because you do not want to be hosting a retreat and then pulling out your hairs and going bold early because you don't know how to run it like a business. You do not put profit first. So many people do not put profit first. They like the shiny numbers. Yeah. They like the shiny numbers. They like to be able to say, I sold out my retreat. Instead of saying, I hosted a profitable retreat, because people are ashamed of talking about money. They don't want to tell people, I am profitable. And it's okay because you can too. But I am here to tell you that you can be profitable and you can have that retreat that helps people's lives. And you can do it for many, many years to come. We are in this space of let's stop building retreats that are average. I call them the nice to have retreats, right? And the concept comes from the space of let's go to a retreat where we rest, relax, and reset. Beautiful. Does it tell me anything about the ideal client, the person who wants to come? It really doesn't. It's just nice to have. And nice to have things are the things that we leave on the counter at the supermarket. And then we tell them, oh, next time I come, I'll buy that fancy toothpaste. People don't stick to it. They really don't. So when we're thinking about this, we're thinking about how to run this business and having this perceived value. I told you, people will pay you $25,000, $12,000, $8,000. I have a client, $50,000 per retreat. You might be like, what? Is she crazy? Is that even possible? Well, if you solve a big enough problem, yes, it is. Yes, it is. There are no limits. And in the current age and era, this is a perfect time to be having these businesses. The industry is not going anywhere, but it is becoming more selective. People are just not buying your regular retreat that much anymore. And that's why you see so many people out there saying, oh, retreats aren't selling. I post and no one answers. Oh, I used to do so great 2 years ago and now I don't. 2 years ago, it was a completely different market. It was post-pandemic. Everyone wanted to travel. Everyone wanted to get out of their houses. So they were buying whatever they found in front of them. The market has changed. People are looking for specific solutions to their problems. And they need to like you, know you, and trust you. You need to build that authority. You need to build that relationship. Now, once again, premium clients do not need convincing, right? They just need the clarity that you're the person to fix that problem. They don't want more content. They want fast action. They don't want to have more, oh, go do this on your own and figure it out. They want someone to come and say, hey, this is what you change. This is what you shift. And then you will get the solution. People pay hundreds of thousands of dollars to consultants to come into a room, analyze what's going on, what's happening, and tell them, this is what you have to do and change. Because they have the eagle's eye. And that change might save them hundreds of thousands of dollars or even millions of dollars. Again, it's all based on the perceived value. And ask yourself, am I really do I really know what perceived value is? Do I know the perceived value of my services? Am I super, super clear? Have I done the work? And if you haven't, well, you don't have to do it alone. I am here to support you through this process. So I invite you to actually join us in our live event in Las Vegas, where we're going to go through the whole system so you can have profitable, sold out, and actually systematized retreats so you can do them on repeat. So you don't have to be second guessing, will people buy? Will people see my value? So if you're interested, just go check out theretreatplanner.com/live. See you next time.